Hello, people of YouTube. um, I'm here to talk about a book that I read for my English class, and this happens to be for it. I read The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, the Eclipse novella. It's a story about a girl named Bree Tanner. You see her she gets introduced pretty much at the end of Eclipse, and this is just a story about her life after she became a vampire. She starts off pretty much like anybody else would, kind of staying to herself and following along to what the rules are. She gets stuck with this one group that isn't really good, and they create a ruckus, and a boy named a guy named Diego that she meets, who's also a vampire, goes and takes her away from them, and he's like second head vampire next to Riley with this group. And him and her pretty much become like best friends, and are like really close to one another, and they sort of start falling for one another. And like near the end of the book, and that like right before they're about to leave Seattle and go to where Bella and Edward are, he goes and they find out that they can sparkle in the light instead of bursting into flames like everybody goes and says that vampires do. So Diego goes and he decides that he wants to talk to Riley about it. And later on that day, Riley goes and he comes back, but Diego never shows. Bree becomes very concerned, and then Riley goes and he takes her and up into the house, and into like the garage, and he tells her that he sent Diego on a like mission type thing, and that he was scouting ahead to make sure everything was good and safe, and that she is supposed to help him out with getting this one guy, his name is Fred, to use his powers, which is pretty much like able to make people not really sort of disgusted. Like it's just kind of like a repel. His power is more or less like repelling people away from him. And it never has very much effect on Bree. So Riley wants her to try and to stick with Fred and try and convince him to go along with all of this and whatnot, to help out with fighting. So Riley starts training all of the other newborns except for Bree and Fred. And while the others are training and that, Fred goes and he starts talking to Bree and starts like saying to her and like asking her all of these like different stuff, and that she already knew about them actually being able to like be out in the sunlight, and about not they just kind of like start talking and they kind of figure out like what Riley was up to, that it was all just like a plan, that they're actually going to be taking down somebody else. And Fred wants nothing to do with it. He doesn't want to spend the rest of he doesn't want to spend his eternal life going and fighting up against these people. that he doesn't even know if they're actually enemy to them or not, because all they have to go on is Riley's word, and he had pretty much lied to them about the whole not being able to like go out and like bursting in the flames in the sun. So the next day, while they're starting to go and leave Seattle, Fred goes and he strays off, and he goes and he says to Bree that he'll see her in that he's going to be going to New York. I think it might have been Buffalo, New York, or something like that. It was somewhere in New York, and he went and he told her, he's like, I'm gonna be in New York. I'll see you there when you find Diego. Come. And you can kind of tell though in the book that he kind of likes her. You can just kind of like tell that they have like that connection that her and Diego had. And she goes with the group. And after they start fighting in that, she realizes that Diego was never there. That there was no trace of him at all. That Riley had killed him. So then it pretty much, while the fighting and that's going on, it pretty much then jumps to like where the end of Eclipse is, and where they give her God, I don't remember what the word is now. They let her live as long as she surrenders. And then the Valtori come, and they go and they say about how they couldn't give her that, and well, then pretty much again it's where Eclipse ends and Bree dies. That's pretty much all it really is. It's really good, and I really recommend anybody who is either into Twilight or just kind of like likes that bit of romance along with mystery book along into it. I really suggest you read this. It's really good. I don't really know what much to say besides that. Thank you for listening.